What's up, everybody? My name is Dana Harris with Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and back again to drop some more math jewels. This video, I'm going to be showing you how to multiply complex numbers. Okay? Remember, a complex number is written in the form a plus b times I. Okay? So, let's get into the first example. Example 1, and just so we know, that's a complex number. Most of the time it's put in parentheses or when you're adding and multiplying them, but it doesn't have to be in parentheses. The first part is real, the second part is imaginary, so that's what a complex number is. Let's say if I have negative 8i times 6 plus I. Now, typically we're going to treat this just as if the I was not there. So like if I saw a term on the outside of parentheses, we would use the distributive property. So we're going to do the same thing here. So you get negative 8i times 6 plus negative 8i times I. Okay? Negative 8 times 6 is negative 48. We keep our I. And then plus negative 8i squared. Okay? Now, you may or may not know, and if you don't know, there's a video on this. I squared is actually equal to negative 1. Okay? So this is negative 48i plus negative 8 times negative 1, which gives me negative 48i. Negative times a negative is positive, plus 8. In order to write this as a complex number, I need to switch the order because I need the real part to be in front. So I'm going to say this is equal to 8 minus 48i. Okay, real part, then the imaginary part for it to be a complex number. Okay, that's example 1. Let's look at another one. Okay. And you'll notice in a lot of these that you have to be careful because you must change I squared to negative 1. Example 2. Example 2 says 3i, or tree I, times 1 minus 2i. Still going to use the distributive property. So I have tree I times 1 minus tree I times 2i. 3i times 1 is just 3i, minus 3 times 2 is 6, I times I is I squared. But remember, I squared equals negative 1. So this is minus 6 times negative 1. A negative times a negative is a positive. So this is actually 3i plus 6. But I need to write it with the real part first. So I need to switch the order of these, and I get 6 plus 3i. Okay? Complex number has to be written with the real part plus the real part first and then the imaginary part. That is a rule that I didn't make. The old ancient math people made it, and most of what they said back then is still true. So I believe it. Alright, let's do 2 more examples. Let's get a little more tedious. Now, this one, we're going to do these last 2 examples, and I'm going to show you multiple ways to do this because this one is like a binomial. So 9 minus 10i times negative 8 plus 3i. So if these were just 2 regular binomials, sometimes people use the FOIL method or they use double distribution. This example, I'm going to show you the FOIL method. The next example, I'm going to show you double distribution. So here we go. The FOIL method tells me F stands for first. That means I'm going to take the first term in each binomial. So 9 times negative 8. Then I'm going to take the outside, which is those 2. So 9 times 3i. Then I'm going to take the inside, which is these 2. So I'm going to have negative 10i times negative 8. And then I'm going to have the last, which is these two, negative 10i times 3i. Now let me go back and do the math there. So this gives me negative 72, 27i, 80i, because the negative times a negative, and then negative 30i squared. I have to put all of those terms back together and then simplify. So I'm going to just write it the way they are. So I have negative 72 plus 27i plus 80i minus 30i squared. Okay? And I need to simplify this. So remember, I'm going to first of all change I squared to negative 1. Well, actually, let's join these two first. So negative 72, if I take 27 plus 80, that gives me plus 107i minus 30. I squared is negative 1. Okay? So negative 72 plus 107i plus 30. And now I'm going to rewrite this so that the like terms of negative 72 and 30 are together. Okay? And then so negative 72 plus 30 is negative 42 plus 107i. Okay? So I have negative 42 plus 107i. Okay? And the FOIL method is just my method of choice. I'm going to show you an example 4 that you can use double distribution, which ends up giving you the same thing, but it's kind of like potato, potato, tomato, tomato, things like that. Same thing, just saying it in a different way. All right, let's get that out of there too. Okay, so we're going to do this last example. Remember, we are multiplying complex numbers. And I know if you're watching this entire playlist, you're like, whoa, this is some heavy stuff. But hopefully it's good stuff. To me it is. Example 4. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use a different method. So I have negative 7 minus I times 3 plus 2i. Okay? Double distribution means that I'm going to take the first term in this parentheses and distribute it there. So I'm going to say negative 7 times 3 plus 2i. And then I'm going to say plus negative I times 3 plus 2i. Okay? And now I'm going to distribute this side and I'm going to distribute that side. And then we're going to have a lot of terms and we're going to put them all together and then we're going to get an answer. Negative 7 times 3, let's show double distribution. Remember, the distributive property says I have to distribute what's on the outside to everything on the inside. So I have negative 7 times 3 plus negative 7 times 2i plus negative I times 3 plus negative I times 2i. That's all of it. Negative 21. We could say plus negative. I'll just say minus 14i. Minus 3i. And then minus 2i squared. Okay? Remember, if I add a negative, it's the same thing as subtracting. So please don't get confused. It's a habit of mine, and I just want people to understand that it's the same thing. So let's combine the like terms. We see that those two middle terms are like terms. So let's just say minus 17i and then minus 2. Remember, I squared is equal to negative 1. So I have negative 21 minus 17i plus 2. I'm going to take these two terms and combine them. So let's just do 21 plus 2. I'm sorry, negative 21 plus 2 minus 17i. And that gives me negative 19 minus 17i. And guess what, folks? We have arrived at a solution. Okay? So, a lot of stuff here. Remember, the beauty of these videos is that you can pause them, you can rewind them. and all kinds of other stuff to make sure you get it sunk into your head. I want you to be able to understand what's going on. So please, that's why a lot of times I go through each and every single step as best as I can, because I don't want to assume anybody knows something. Um, so thank you so much for your support. Subscribe to the channel. Share the videos. If you know a friend, wherever they are, if you got a Facebook friend, an Instagram friend, a Snapchat friend, somebody that's in school and they need this stuff, share it with them. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to help kids all around the world, adults too, non-traditional students, things like that. I'm trying to help people around the world because math ain't going anywhere no time soon. And remember, I got the solution to your math problems. Subscribe. Go to Instagram at YG Math Tutoring and Facebook, Young Gurus Math Tutoring. I got the solution to your math problems. Thanks for watching.